Is Bitcoin still bullish here? We're seeing signs of a potential massive bounce that could carry us back towards the $118,000 area. And it's not just Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP, all leading cryptos, are all flashing strength here as we kick off the week. Plus, gold is quickly approaching a critical breakout target that could shake up the markets across the board. We'll cover all this and more in today's episode. My name is Paul Sampson. Welcome back to DataDash. When it comes to trading and investing, the number one advantage that you can have is access. Access to reliable insights, professional grade analysis, and a community that pushes you to get better each and every single day. And that's exactly what we've built over at DataDash Pro. When you join, you get direct access to our Traders Club Discord, where I share daily updates, chart setups, and insights into both short-term moves and longer-term market structure. Whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or the broader altcoin market, you'll know at the exact levels and setups I'm watching personally. And just as important, you'll be a part of a tight-knit community of traders who are learning, growing, and navigating this market together. On top of that, you can subscribe to the Dash Report written by Nicholas Merton, which is a monthly deep dive into the global macro picture, everything from equities and commodities to interest rates and crypto. Nick breaks it all down, the bigger trends driving financial markets as well, and it's one of the most valuable resources you can have if you want to understand the why behind the moves we're seeing. And if you really want the full DataDash experience, you can bundle the two, the Traders Club and the Dash Report, and get the complete package. That way you're covered from daily trading setups all the way to monthly macro strategy. So if you're serious about trading, investing, and staying ahead in this fast-moving market, I'd encourage you to check out datadashpro.com. Whether you join the Discord, subscribe to the Dash Report, or bundle the two of them together, you'll be taking a big step toward trading with more clarity and confidence. That's datadashpro.com, where traders and investors level up. The link is down in our description below. I look forward to seeing you all inside. All right, folks, we've got Bitcoin still holding around this $110,000 to $112,000 region. Now, after getting a sizable run off of that key level that we highlighted, that $107,000 region, we ran it all the way back up to our monthly target, right? So this was last month's average, this month's target, essentially. This is last month's average of price, known as the monthly pivot. Originally, this was untapped, and we slowly made our way up to this region, and then on Friday, we had a really big drop right from there, right? So a really nice little reaction short term. We were actually having some fun over here on X, as this was literally where I took some profit from my long position. I took right at that 107,000, the exact low, essentially, right at the month pivot, at 113,291 before we had that really sizable move all the way back down to about 110,000 before the weekend. But nevertheless, we have essentially regained all that little small term drop, right? And that's really all it was, about a 1 or 2% move here. And overall, we've still been grinding higher here. And I want to take a look at a few things, one of which is going to be a little bit more of something I look to each and every month as well, which is what I'm going to look at is the previous month's range. So it's very relevant for the current session or the following session. So in this case, looking at last month's range, it's very relevant for this month. Looking at last week, very relevant for this week, so on and so forth, okay? Monthly ranges are a little bit higher time frame as well because, of course, that's a monthly window. Yeah, it aligns well with a super simple setup here that's potentially unfolding here also, which is the inverse head and shoulders, which is a very bullish bottoming setup here as well. That's potentially forming here on Bitcoin also, right? So let's take a look at that. So we'll get the easy setup out of the way here. And basically what we have here, folks, is a inverse head and shoulders setup potentially unfolding here, right? Where you have these shoulder, large head, smaller shoulder here. And if we get above the key level, which is in no matter what on both setups here, it's getting above that monthly pivot, which is now our previous week's high, that high we just put in recently. It's, you know, locally it's our high as well. Here you can see it pretty clearly, but basically that 113,291, we want to get above this region and start closing above 4-hour candles, daily candles ideally, and essentially the way we can measure off, you know, give or take, this pattern here is technically you want to take, on this case, the bottom of the head. Sometimes it's the top if we had a traditional version, but this is an inverse setup. So the bottom of our head here to our neckline, and then essentially you want to measure that off of the neckline here is your measured move for this pattern, okay? So again, this is a bullish reversal pattern, right, known as the inverse head and shoulders. We're measuring this length right here, projecting it from this level here, gives us our target about this $118,000 area. Simply enough, I wouldn't only go off of that, only. Now this is where the August range is going to come into play, all right? And what I like about it here is that we are back within August range, right? Our value area low, or our range low, coming in as the value area lower end of this volume node here, is about 111,100. Same thing here. If I'm looking for any more continuation, I'm looking to flip that monthly average here, all right? And then we have our point of control in the middle of the range is a big area to be aware of here, the 115,000. But ultimately, once we're within a range, we look to rotate that range to the high side. And that just so happens to be right in line with that inverse head and shoulders target area. So as long as we are holding now above this $111,000 region, even if we were to come back and kind of flirt around it, get the daily closes back in this area, I do anticipate that run up to at least the 115 mark, because once we're within a range, it is like price action will seek out that point of control. Okay, so this is the highest area of volume that's taken place in this region. It's also untapped since we closed this time frame off, so that's a naked point of control or an untapped point of control. So a very key level at the moment as well, that 115. And ultimately, I'd look for that range rotation. There's a weekly NPOC up here. It's also our measured move of that overall inverse head and shoulders. And then we will, of course, gauge the market at that point to see how things are shaping up, right? If we get a sizable rejection at that region, or if we start to actually push through and claim this level, then we continue up and we look for new highs. Now, Ethereum has been trading a little bit more tighter, especially as of lately. And so while I still anticipate a new all-time high on Ethereum in the coming weeks here, it's going to depend on where our local low is going to come out of, right? So maybe it's already in, or maybe we take another stab at these lows. And the reason I say that is if we take a look at ETH here, you could just see how we've just been basically just chilling right above this overall low area here. We did come down and sweep that low last week, which gave us a nice little entry. We ran it up to the high side of the range twice, actually, alongside Bitcoin when we ran it up to the 113 area. But overall, we gave it all right back up, right? So holding on to our September average as well. So just like Bitcoin, we were looking at that average of last month's average, this month's target. This month, it was a little bit lower on ETH, whereas for Bitcoin, it was actually above. But that level sits at about 42.34. Our previous week low now. So last week when we came down, we made this low. That's where we're sitting. So again, anybody that took long positions last week that did not take any profits, they have their stop loss more than likely sitting right below here. We've come close to it. By no means we have to come down, but as far as like from this point on right here, the best next entry or the best next move is going to more than likely come from something along these lines, where you come down, you take out this low yet again. I'm really interested in maybe 41.48, this 41.50 area. And realistically, we can get all the way down to the gold pocket, which is about $3,900, which makes a little bit more sense too, to be right below that psychological $4,000 level. But overall, this is what I'd look for. I look for this move each and every week, where you come down, take last week's low. Again, anybody that's been in positions, been sweating it all weekend, they're hoping that they're going to get by here, and they still may. But overall, if we come down and take them out, that knocks out everybody. And then people like myself are going to come in with a new trade position here, and most likely the people that got knocked out are going to re-enter their positions. That usually just gives us fuel to the upside, right? So it's a liquidity grab. But as I stated, just don't be afraid if we do see as deep as $3,900. Very normal pullback situation at that point. And overall, I still target higher. So whether it comes from where we are right now, if we get that smaller pullback first, maybe a deeper one after or instead. But overall, still targeting up into this target area above for Ethereum, $5,100 to $5,600. Now, Solana has honestly been showing some secret strength, if you ask me. And the reason I say that is because in the last week or so, we've had Bitcoin go from, I guess 2 weeks now, Bitcoin went from 125,000 just about all the way back down to 109, a $15,000 drop. And in that same time frame, Solana actually held a key level here, and it's one of these that I've been looking at for many months now. Solana's had a huge bullish reversal setup with 3 major targets, right? So, and we needed to get above the first major target, to seek that continuation to the upside, and we've been holding it really nice, and it's about 196. So this was the setup that we actually were anticipating as we were coming down into this level, given in the Traders Club, of course. And essentially, the reason being at this time was similar to even just how I was looking at Ethereum, just kind of more locally. When we were trading in this region here, we had all these lows in place, okay? We at the time came up and we took the high. I was looking, anytime we take the high and we start making these M formations, I look for a harmonic setup, and that's what this is. It's a sequence of Fibonacci's that have very specific ratios and rules attached with them, very specific targets. And with this one specifically, it's the shark. All right. I actually have a video coming out in the Discord very soon on how I basically utilize these sharks for a ton of moves here. It's pretty much the #1 setup in all of crypto over the last few years. Shout out to the Harmonic Trader. Shout out to Magic Internet Money. And yeah, just a really great setup once you get used to it, essentially. But this one, again, takes the highs, comes down, takes your lows. All right, so liquidity grabs on both sides there. We came into this region here. We had at the time a naked point of control, or an NPOC, okay, right at this level, right below $100, okay, so right below the psychological level. It just made a lot of sense. You come down, you take the lows, you're stopping short-term traders out, you're getting really emotional with people that are long-term holders at this point. This was probably like, I mean, this was a sizable drop out, gosh, 70% drop, okay, in the course of January 21 to about 2.5 months. So anybody that was holding long term probably wasn't feeling amazing, and more than likely scaled out or sold their position, panic sold essentially, especially when you break the $100 level. And this is the 6-hour time frame, so we spent a few days under this $100 area here. But as soon as we came down to this region, I did not take a leverage position in this, but this is where I did actually buy spot in Solana. The reason I don't do leverage with a lot of altcoins is because we all know how quickly this could even dip a little quicker, like another 10%, like it's nothing. So for me, I'm looking for spot positions. This setup was really good, and the idea that we would see the move up to at least the first target area, all right, which is 196, which was a 100% move, just about, all right, 105%. On the way to it, and again, it's nothing goes up in a straight line. You got the push up. We pulled back right into a gold pocket support. All right, very normal price action here. We eventually get our target #1. All right, so at that point, it's a take profit, 105% move out of Solana in a few weeks, and this gives us the next key level to flip. And once we flip this, there's no gold pocket resistance generally. It's usually right to the 886, and again, that's derived off of this setup here. So for Solana, as long as we're holding daily time frame above $196, I fully anticipate us to make a jaunt up to 274, probably hit our head for a minute, and then ultimately a brand new high at 323. Okay, now again, that low came in at $98 on April 11th. We hit the first target on July 23rd. Okay, so it's months time. This is not something I'm looking at or anticipating to happen overnight, to see targets like 274, 323. But if we do see them, and if we do see them relatively quickly, just understand that that's going to be an area where, at least like people like myself, I'm going to be heavily taking profits at those areas on Solana. So not the most ideal areas to be buying new, at least to me. Of course, do what you feel is best for yourself, but just trying to outline the potential path here for Solana and the reason why, the setup at hand, so that you can, of course, take that into your own trading strategy. Or again, I say trading a lot, right? I know that most people are not trading actively, like day in and day out. Okay, this is also for the bigger investment idea here too, because you want to be able to see the why and the, if a random news article hits tomorrow and we get this big push up to 274, usually to the dollar, right? We like to prepare for these moves ahead of time, because once the news like that hits, there's no way to be able to utilize that information when the price action's moving already. You have to be positioned ahead of time, planned ahead of time, and ready for those areas. And even if you can't take advantage of these type of moves, I just put it out there so that you're well aware, right? So it's not like you're scrambling at the end being like, oh my God, Solana just hit $300 out of nowhere, and I got to buy it because it's probably going to go to 1,000 tomorrow. It's like, oh, well, those are some big target areas that more than likely are going to be a big cool down region. So hopefully you can utilize that information one way or the other. If you can take advantage of it short-term, mid-term, that's great. If not, just to understand the movements so that if we do see these moves, you're not scrambling last second to figure out what's going on. Now, before we dive deeper, I want to take a moment to thank our exclusive exchange channel partner here at DataDash, and that's Blofin. Now, if you've been looking for a platform that combines both versatility and reliability, Blofin really checks a lot of the boxes. Whether you're an active trader or more of a long-term investor, they've built out tools to fit both sides of the market. On the future side of trading, Blofin allows you to go long or short on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a wide range of altcoins. That means no matter what the direction of the market is moving, you've got the flexibility to position yourself accordingly. Futures traders will appreciate the speed and the professional grade interface that Blofin provides as well. For those who prefer a more traditional approach, Blofin also offers a wide variety of spot markets. Now, this is where you can simply buy and hold your favorite crypto assets just like you would as a traditional investment. This gives you the option to build a portfolio for the long run while still having access to active trading if and when you'd like it. And here's something I think is really important. It's that Blofin constantly rolls out perks for new users. So whether it's deposit bonuses, trading fee discounts, or other promotions, there's generally something available. So if you're considering making the switch or opening your first account, there are usually extra incentives that will come along to get you started. And what I like the most is that Blofin is more than just an exchange. It's an environment designed to give traders confidence, whether you're chasing short-term setups or positioning for the next macro move. So if you'd like to come trade alongside myself and the DataDash community, check out Blofin. The link is down in our description below. They're our exclusive channel partner, and I'm really proud to have them supporting what we do here. Thanks again to Blofin for partnering with us, and now let's get back into the analysis. All right, XRP. I love to trade XRP, going, I guess, right back into a trading outlook. I don't trade it daily by any means, but the swing moves on XRP, so I'm talking multiple months at a time, are very, very good. The XRP moves really, really well. To be honest, I know everybody gives it a lot of stuff, but it's outperformed most of the market, at least this year. I know most other years it has not, but you had let's see, from low to high here, since November of last year, we had a 600% rally, which, looking across the board, outperformed many, okay? Obviously, it's been range bound pretty decently since, but it's been holding that area as well. So the unfortunate part is that many don't come into assets like this until we're trading around this region right here, right? So missed the entire move up usually, get excited again, just as I explained with Solana, where it's like, people will get into the frenzy because you see this huge move up, and then you get news around it, and it's like, I gotta get in. I can't miss this. It's about to go to $10, $20. It's, look how fast it's gone to this. Just to get, totally mollywopped, along the way, right? Still looks pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Putting in higher lows, higher highs, consolidating here pretty simply. Overall, I still target this $4.50 area. That's actually gonna be where I sell all of my XRP personally. I actually managed to scale out on this move pretty decently. I didn't sell the exact high on my spot bags, but I ended up buying it right back here when we dropped down to our quarter pivot, 6-month pivot, 12-month pivot at the beginning of the year. And then I ended up actually getting another position right here. So I just kind of doubled down on these two areas. And from there to here, I'm totally happy after already cashing out, buying back in here lower, getting to that 450 if we get it. That's where I'll be looking to scale out of XRP. Once again, that's just my plan. You can do whatever you like. If you think it's going to $10, $20, $100,000, it's totally up to you. And this may not even be the ultimate high locally, right? If we were to get a really nice breakout here, maybe we do push up to $5, $6, but I'm totally comfortable with making, I have my plan in place. I'm looking at another 150% move. To some, that's not that sexy, but mind you, I capitalized on this move here, basically doubled my position by waiting for a 50% pullback. Okay, this was 50% right here. And then I'm going to look to run that back up. So in theory, for me, that's a really big move compared to someone that's just now buying here. And okay, maybe they don't want to wait, or maybe they're not happy with just 150%, which is crazy. But that's the crypto mindset, because people think that we had those huge runs back in the day, that it will continue. And you may have some winners, but Mama always said, after a 150% move, pay yourself. Going a little out of order with my normal schematic here, but I did want to take a peek too. We have some new weekly information for the ETF products here for Bitcoin, thanks to HODL 15 Capital as always. Little trickle up here. We've only got a week of information now based off of last month's close, right? So we were sitting at about 1.291 million at the end of August. A week later, we got about 2,000 Bitcoin difference here. So nothing too crazy to write home about. So interested, I'll kind of take a peek at this more so at the end of the quarter, because again, these are quarterly reportings here, but HODL 15 does a great job of keeping us up to date on the week by week until our quarter closes again. So at the end of September, that'll be the end of Q3. So I'm interested to see how things kind of shape up here, because we've been slowly, of course, increasing over time. We took a little bit of a break between Q4 and the end of Q1, and pretty slow grind for the second quarter there, and then we'll see how the third quarter here closes up. You've also got fear and greed in both the stock market and the crypto market sitting right at neutral. So again, that pretty much just is exactly that. It's neutral. Okay, so to me, I like to see that when we're trading at some key regions, kind of coming off of some fear, right? Because we were pretty fearful, at least in crypto, just literally a couple days ago, definitely a week or so ago when we were trading back down at 107. So this just allows, I think, for the market to see some more upside as the sentiment is pretty much not even there, right? It's nobody's paying attention essentially. And then we've got gold, who we saw it coiled up like a snake in the grass, ready to strike for many, many moons here. And with the breakout, big target above us coming in about 3,661, depending on what exchange you're looking at and everything like that. I don't imagine that this is a huge, area where we have to see the breaks just come in immediately or anything. But this is just the next area. If I was looking at the, breaking out of this region here, I wasn't interested in anything until we came up to this level here. So it'll be a little reactionary based, outlook here. See if we start to reject here for a cool down, or if we flip that level, then it's just on to the next one. More than likely we see probably up to the $4,000 mark on gold. Honestly, wouldn't be overnight by any means, but just this is a really, really nice continuation here that we saw after a multi-month consolidation. So from April to August, we consolidated perfectly, broke out, and I mean, it's just been up only so far. So 36.61 coming in pretty quickly. Look for a rejection there, cool down, more than likely something along the lines of just even a simple gold pocket puts us all the way back at these highs. But continuing up from here, and I'm looking at $4,000 gold. So to recap today's video, Bitcoin showing signs. It may be setting up for a major bounce, or already underway. Ethereum, Solana, and XRP are holding strong as the week begins here also, and gold is right on the edge of a major target here. So we'll see how these next few days play out, but either way, the charts are giving us plenty to keep an eye on. Thanks as always for joining me. This is Paul Sampson with DataDash. I'll catch you all in the next video, and until then, everybody, cheers.